you. Welcome to Catching the Happy Bug Workshop. I'm so excited that you signed up for this today, and I know you're going to love it. Just a couple of tips that I want to share with you to make your workshop experience more worthwhile. The first one, I highly recommend that you have a blank notepad in front of you with a pen before the workshop begins. So now's a great time to pause the video and go grab that and come back. The reason being is that during the workshop, sometimes if you interrupt and you pause and you go run for a pen or a pad, you forget what it was that you were wanting to write down. And so I highly recommend you already have that in front of you. Second, it's always good to begin with a prayer or meditation or a question in your heart, something that you're pondering about the topic. So today we're going to be talking about unconditional happiness. And so if there's any questions that you have or anything that you've been struggling with in regards to happiness, that would be a great way to start out the workshop. Lastly, I highly recommend that you write down slides as we go along, the names of the slides. If there's things that really pique your interest or questions that you have, write the slides down because it is a really long workshop and you only have it for a limited time. So it makes it a lot easier to go back if you want to review a slide or get some more information. You'll know exactly where to reference that slide. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you enjoy it, and I would love to hear back from you when the workshop's over. I'd love to hear about your experiences, any questions that you have, and how this has impacted your life. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm author and happiness coach Lindsey Rietzsch, and you are attending the Catching the Happy Bug Workshop. I'm so excited you're here today. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to tell you why this workshop is so exciting and why it will change your life. So the first time I did this workshop, it was in this huge auditorium in this conference center, and the seats were packed, and I did it twice. And just the energy in that room was amazing. The people that were there were just really involved, really participating, and it was a lot of fun. And throughout this workshop, you think of happiness and you think it's just something that's so simple to understand, yet we all sometimes struggle feeling it every day in our lives. What I love about this workshop is we talk about happiness in a very unconventional way. And you'll find that in all of my workshops that I like to go beyond and step outside of the box when talking about certain topics. This one's really important to me. It is such a foundation for everything in your life to be happy, because when you're not happy, usually nothing else in your life is working out for you. So we're going to talk about happiness in a very unconventional way, and I really hope that you walk away feeling inspired to open up yourself to new ideas about happiness, and that you try some of these tips that I share with you today and maybe do a little bit more research and homework on a lot of the wonderful things that I'm going to share. Something I want to share with you is that usually I'm a traveling, or I've always been a traveling speaker. So I get invited to speak at random events and various venues, and I'll travel there. And it's a lot of time out of my schedule, especially being a full-time mom with 4 kids. It's a lot to ask to have to find childcare for my kids and make sure someone's getting them from point A to point B, and drive or fly out and be gone for a day or two. It's quite a bit. So I love being able now to do these online workshops because it allows me more time to be with my family. And at the same time, it's a win-win for both of us because you get to watch it at your leisure. So you don't have to travel anywhere and sit for 2 or 3 hours. You can pause it, come back to it. So that's what I love about this. Now, if you want to contact me at the end of this workshop, I'll explain at the end how you can get a hold of me. But I also like to put out there that you can follow me before and during the workshop, and of course at the end, at my Happy Lady Facebook page. Now what I love about the Happy Lady Facebook page is I'm on there all the time. I'm sharing all kinds of tidbits on happiness, and I do weekly videos. And so I'm going to share more about that at the end, but I highly recommend you join the Happy Lady Facebook page. It's a fun community and we'd love to have you. Well, okay, having said that, let's go ahead and get started. And I hope you love this visual stimulation. I'm a visual learner, and where I'm not in front of you speaking and using my hands and my body language. I know sometimes watching presentations can get a little bit monotonous, so I'm going to try to keep this fun and interesting, but that's why I have these fun visual images to look at, because I just feel like that stimulation just helps keep the excitement going. Okay, so let's talk about what it means to catch the happy bug. I want you to think about that for a minute. And the first thing that comes to my mind is it attracts amazing opportunities into your life. So catching the happy bug means that amazing opportunities are starting to come into your life. Now, there's actually a science behind this, and we're going to get to that a little bit later on in the workshop, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Okay, freedom. Oh my goodness, you guys. Catching the happy bug means that you have immense freedom. You're free from worry, free from stress, free from fear, free from doubt. Now, if you were sitting in a classroom right now, I'd say raise your hand if that doesn't sound good to you, or if that does sound good to you. So I imagine a lot of you out there right now would be raising your hand. Absolutely. It means peace of mind. When you're happy, you have peace of mind. You're relaxed. You're enjoying life. There's no stress. It means experiencing meaningful and uplifting relationships with family, at work, whatever organizations you work or serve in, you're having great relationships with those people. Okay, this is a really good one right here. I bet you're agreeing, you're nodding your head. Who doesn't want an improved immune system, right? Science actually shows that happiness increases your immune system. Your immune system works better. Your body is better able to ward off sickness. It's also an improved metabolism. So yes, nod your head again if you wouldn't want an improved metabolism, right? Happiness is just amazing, the effects that it has on our bodies, and I think we know that, and that's why we all want it so badly. Okay, it slows down the aging process. This is another good one, and there is a science behind all of this, and like I said, we will get to that. But think about that. It slows down the aging process. You can throw away all your wrinkle creams and save money on all those products that you see on TV, because just by being happy and practicing it every day, you're going to slow down those wrinkles. Okay, boosts in ideas and creativity. This is a fun one right here. I love this. And I want you to think back on your own life right now. Think about times in your life when you have had these amazing ideas and these light bulb moments. And were you not happy right before this happened? Were you not experiencing happiness? When we're happy, we're in that alignment. And when we're in that alignment, the floodgates open up. All those ideas and inspirational feelings and thoughts, it all just comes pouring into our mind and spirit, and we just feel like we are on fire. Okay, catching the happy bug means having an open mind. So if you are the type of person who you love hearing new things, new ideas, new thoughts, and you're open to it, and you don't make a judgment about it right up front. You're open to hearing about it and listening and hearing different opinions and hearing both sides of the story. And if that's how you are, then generally you're probably a very happy person. When you feel the need to shut down and turn yourself off to new ideas and things that are outside of the box, generally you're probably a more unhappy person. Maybe you experience more stress in your life, more physical pain with your body. You don't feel good all the time, or maybe you just have more down days than you do up days. And that definitely goes hand in hand with being happy. Being happy means you're open. You're open to receiving love. You're open to receiving new ideas. You have an open mind and an open heart. You're just wide open to receive everything that's good. Okay, progressing in knowledge and wisdom. I love this. I get into this in other workshops as well when I talk about the more spiritual side of it, and I talk about scriptures and lots of different areas that are spiritual that tie into this and that talk about this. So this is knowledge and wisdom at amazing levels. When you're happy, you're learning, and it has to do with this. You have an open mind, so you're open to receiving that knowledge and inspiration and wisdom, and it comes in and you receive it. So because you receive it, you get more and more and more. You progress quickly. And so a happy person, you'll notice, is going to be progressing and learning at an accelerated rate. So you're going to be rapidly learning, you're going to be just expanding your mind and everything around you, just a huge expansion. So you'll notice people that are learning and constantly going and have all these ideas and are learning and reading, they're generally pretty happy people. Okay, forgiving. I love this one. Forgiving. When you're happy, it's because you're a forgiving person. If you hold grudges and you refuse to let things go that aren't good for you, thoughts, feelings, memories, all of it, experiences, when you hold on to those, you're not happy. And when you're not happy, you're experiencing the opposite of this entire list right here. So forgiving is huge. In fact, I've done videos on that before. You're welcome to go to my YouTube channel at the end of this workshop and look up my videos on forgiveness. They are powerful. Okay, no judgment. Happy people don't judge, and that's why it feels so good to be around them, because they are so friendly and loving and open, and we feel like we can be ourselves around them. We don't have to hide or pretend to be somebody that we're not. And I'm sure you felt that before. If you think of some of the happiest people you know in your life, they're people who love you unconditionally. They don't judge you. They see you for who you really are. They express great love towards you, and they just want to get to know you and talk to you and bring out the best in you. And right there, speaking of best, experiencing your best self. When you're happy, you are experiencing your best self. It's because you're being who you really are. You're being the person that you were before you came here. The person who you are, if you were to get rid of all the things that disguise who you really are, the bells and the whistles and everything on the outside, the face that we put on, all the things that we try to hide behind, the masks, all of it. When you get rid of all that, you're experiencing who you really are on the inside. It's the best version of you. And it feels so good when you're in touch with the best version of you. You just can't help but continue to be happy. So what is the happy bug? We've kind of talked about here how you know if you've caught the happy bug, because these are all the signs. But what is the happy bug? Okay, the happy bug basically is unconditional happiness. If you've caught the happy bug, you have caught on to unconditional happiness, and you are experiencing it at a wonderful level. So it's happiness that is absolute. If you've ever wondered what it means to be unconditionally happy, think about when we talk about unconditional love. It's loving someone no matter what. No matter their shortcomings, no matter who they are or who they aren't, you love them no matter what. And this is the same with happiness. Happiness that is absolute. And what does that mean? It means that our happiness is not limited by conditions. So it's not that, you know what, I'm going to be happy when my car is paid off. Or, yeah, I know it's good to be happy. I should be happy. I get that. I believe that. I hear it all the time, and I want to be happy. But until my mortgage payment is gone and I don't have to pay it on my home anymore, then I'm truly going to be happy. Or, you know what, I'm doing okay, but I'll be really happy when I get to go on that vacation. Someday when I get to go to Hawaii. Or when my significant other treats me the way I want to be treated, then I'm going to be happy. You know, whatever it is, when I have the dream job that I've always wanted, or when I get a different boss, right? When I retire, when I don't have to work anymore. These are limits that we put on our happiness. When we say, I'm going to be happy or truly happy when XYZ happens, then that's not unconditional happiness. That's conditional happiness. We're choosing not to be happy until life presents us with the desirable conditions that we want. So that tells us, before we get to what it is not, that tells us that it's a choice. We choose to be happy regardless of what life's circumstances bring us. We choose to be happy no matter what people do or do not do to us, or say or do not say to us. No matter what happens, we have already decided when we woke up in the morning that we're going to be happy. And by the time we go to bed, we decide that we're going to go to bed happy. And we're going to wake up and do it all again every day. That is unconditional happiness. So what is it not? And we just talked about this. It is not, I will not be happy until XYZ happens, or I can only be happy if, if circumstances are just so, just how I want them. If people act this certain way around me, I need people to walk on eggshells around me. I need my kids to be perfect at all times. I need my husband to know exactly what I want without me having to tell him. I kind of need him to read my mind, right? We know, we've done this before, and we know people that do this all the time. If I can only have life this way, then I'll be happy. Or I'm only happy when. Okay, so that's what it's not. So now that we understand a little bit about what unconditional happiness is and what it isn't, let's talk about how we get there. How do we achieve that? How do we have that be a part of who we are on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about this in an unconventional way. This is where the workshop gets really exciting. We're going to talk about some things that you may have not heard before, and some of you may have, but we're going to talk about just the science behind it and other areas that will just kind of help give a better picture of how this really works. Because I'm a firm believer that if we don't understand how things work and why they work the way that they do, then we're less likely to apply them in our lives. But when we understand the hows and the whys behind them, then it makes more sense, and we're more likely to remember that, and we're more likely to apply it in our lives. So here we go. Okay, so let's talk about what research says. It just always makes me laugh because there are people, and you might be one of them, who you're more likely to go with an idea if research can back it up, right? But then there are others of us who are more intuitive, and we just know. And the research just kind of backs up what we already know. So let's talk about what research says. We'll start with the body. Okay, there is an awesome institute called the HeartMath Institute. And if you have time, Google them, check out their website. They have done some amazing research on the effects of the heart on the mind, body, and spirit. It is amazing. Now, according to the HeartMath Institute, their research shows that the heart communicates to the brain in 4 major ways. So let's go ahead and talk about those. Okay, the first is neurologically. Now, this is through the transmission of the nerve impulses. Then you've got biochemically, that's the hormones and the neurotransmitters. Then you have biophysically, through pressure waves, and energetically through the electromagnetic field interactions. So those are the 4 ways that the heart communicates to the brain. Now, this communication from the heart is huge on the way that it affects the brain's activity, because it affects perceptions, behaviors, and performance. So knowing this is going to help teach us so much more as we proceed in this workshop. So I love to point this out. Did you know that the heart sends out more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. Let's read it again. The heart sends more information to the brain than the brain actually sends to the heart. Now think about that for a minute. If I was doing my more spiritual workshop, I would love, right now I'd be showing you all the scriptures that back this up that are just absolutely incredible. It's believed by many that the heart is actually the brain of the body, and this research backs that up. And you've heard before, you've heard people say, always go with your heart, listen to your heart, right? Don't go with your brain. That's what that's all about, is it's your heart. Those impulses from your heart, those feelings you get in your heart when you have those strong impressions to do something or not to do something. Listen to them, because your heart pretty much is your brain. Your heart and all the feelings that you feel there, it's like the brain of your spirit. It is the central control system of the mind, body, and spirit. And as you can see, it's sending more information to your brain. It's telling your brain what to do, which in return your brain is telling your body what to do. But the brain is getting its orders from the heart. So always go with your heart over your brain. Always go with your heart over logic, the way that you feel over what people tell you or what makes sense. All right, let's continue learning more about what research says. I love this one. So research shows us that the heart's electrical field is about 60 times greater than the electrical activity generated by the brain. So think about that. That's huge. Our heart is just going beyond and above what we give it credit for. It is extending beyond the boundaries that we assume that it has, and it is connecting to so many other areas of our life. It's just incredible. And this is also on the Heart Math Institute. The magnetic field produced by the heart is more than 100 times greater in strength than the field generated by the brain and can be detected up to 3 feet away from the body. That is absolutely incredible. And so if you don't understand what the magnetic field is, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But your body does have its own magnetic field. And your heart has a magnetic field. Everything's got a magnetic field around it. So it's 100 times greater than the strength of the field, the magnetic field generated by the brain. That's incredible. And I love this part here. It can be detected up to 3 feet away from the body. Have you ever walked into a room and you felt tension and you knew something awful had just happened in that room? You feel the tension, you can cut it with a knife, right? Or have you ever walked into someone's home and it feels so beautiful in their home? It feels like a piece of heaven. You feel so calm and relaxed, and you feel good when you're around those people. Okay, this is what you're feeling. You're feeling the energy produced from their magnetic field of their heart. If you're within 3 feet of a person, you can feel those feelings. You can feel that energy, and that's why we can pick up on bad vibes and good vibes about people and when we're in situations. This is why. And so I love how this science just helps make more sense of what we already know. And so as I said before, you've heard the terms go with your heart, speak from your heart, or I know it by heart. That's where that comes from. Okay, the magnetic signals generated by the heart have the capacity to affect individuals around us. And so we would be familiar with this in terms of, we know that, when you're around somebody, you've heard the term that one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Okay, so you're around somebody who's negative. You're around somebody who's just having a bad day. And you can feel that. And if you're around them long enough and you don't do something about it, you're going to start to feel like you're having a bad day. That negative energy is going to come from their magnetic field into yours. And you're going to start taking on that energy onto yourself. And then the same goes for the opposite. You're just having an okay day, or you're not too sure about how you're feeling, and then you walk into a room and you sit down and start talking to someone who is just incredibly happy and full of amazing positive energy, right? And they start to talk to you, and the energy from their voice and the energy that you're feeling from just being in their presence starts to lift your own energy, and you start to feel happier and lighter, and like things aren't such a life's not as bad as you thought it was. You start to feel like you have a handle on your life, and then you walk away and you feel great. This is why it's those magnetic signals. They affect others around us. There's power in that. Okay, now let's talk again more scientifically about what the magnetic field is. Let's talk about the Earth. Okay, so there's something called the GCMS, the Global Coherence Monitoring System. Now, this is a system that uses state-of-the-art sensing technology to observe changes in the Earth's magnetic field. This is really, really cool. I'm going to share an experience about this. Now, this can all be found again through the Heart Math Institute. I love this story I'm going to share with you. So, around the time of 9/11, this is amazing because what happened is before 9/11 happened, there was a huge spike on the GCMS. So it started to show this huge spike in changes in the Earth's magnetic field. And scientists saw this and were wondering, what's going on? What is this about? What's happening here? And then shortly afterwards, the news about 9/11 came out. September 11th, the attacks on the World Trade Center. And all of a sudden, scientists were just in awe to see that spike in the Earth's magnetic field, the global magnetic field. That spike went way up, and then we got the news about 9/11. So that energy was already circulating. It was already there. We were already feeling the effects from it, and it hadn't even happened yet. This is incredible. Now, you can read more about that on the Heart Math Institute page, and you can read in more detail about what happened that day. But going on from there, the Earth's magnetic field affects and is influenced by human emotions and behaviors. So this explains what happened on 9/11. So if we understand that the Earth's magnetic field is influenced by human emotions and behaviors, then it would make sense that as we experience that as a world globally, when we experience something on a global scale, like what happened on September 11th, and it affects the entire world, those emotions and behaviors are powerful. The energy, the vibrations from those emotions are huge and have the ability, collectively especially, to affect the Earth's magnetic field. It has the power to put a huge spike on the charts, and that is incredible. What we learned from this experience has changed the science that we understand about the power of emotions, the power that our feelings and our behaviors have on not just us and not just those around us, but throughout the entire world. We have the ability to change the world. And I know you heard that growing up. I'm sure your teachers told you as a kid, maybe your parents, you don't understand how powerful and amazing you are. You have the ability to change the world. And maybe you've thought before, well, how can I, just one person, actually have an impact on the entire world, right? And here's how. Science shows us right here. It proves that just one person can make a difference and that affects the entire world. And especially when we all come together, it's more powerful. Now later in this workshop, I'm going to get more into that, about how one person can have an influence and an actual physiological impact on people throughout the world without even realizing it. I'm going to talk about how that works and the magnitude of that power and effect that you have. So stay tuned, it's going to get exciting. Okay, so what does this mean? We know that it means a lot. We know that this changes everything we've ever understood about feelings and emotions, right? But what does it really mean? Okay, it means that we are all interconnected. The Earth's magnetic fields connects all living systems together. So truly, we are all one. We are all one, and I know it sounds cheesy and it sounds so cliche. We've heard many times, you hear it in music and songs, and we've heard it as growing up, and especially in church, right? That we're all one, we're all connected. But truly, scientifically, there's nothing cliche about it. We are all connected. Our systems all connect together and interconnect into the Earth's magnetic field. We are powerful. Okay, social media. I love to point this out because now that you know this information, you're going to be held accountable for it, right? I don't know if you want to be accountable, but you are now. So think about social media. When you get onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what are you spreading? Are you the person that's posting every negative headline about things that are going on globally, things that are going on in our nation, things with politics, things about terrorism, things about the end of the world? Are you one of those people? Are you spreading negative headlines? Because if you are, you're actually spreading real waves of fear, and you're sending that out to the world, and that's what you're doing. That's how you're changing the world. You're changing it for the negative. Or are you one of those people who puts out happiness? Every time you get on, you post something that might uplift someone's day. You share something that made you smile, right? And if you're not, it's okay. If you're not either of these, that's okay. But just know that you can change at any time. Now that you understand how powerful you are and how powerful this is, maybe this will inspire you to go out and make a difference. Go out and start posting more positive things on social media. It's going to make a huge difference not only in your life, but in the lives of so many others. All right, so let's talk about vibrations now. You've heard me mention before in the workshop how our feelings send out those vibrations. And when we feel things in our heart and when we express emotions, we're putting those vibrations into our magnetic field, and those that we come in contact with are feeling it. We're also putting it into the Earth's magnetic field, so it's having an actual effect on the Earth itself. Okay, so let's talk about these vibrations. What are they? Where do they come from? Why do they exist, right? Okay, you may have heard of this before, and to some of you this may not be new. To some of you, you may be more advanced in this area, and this might just be a refresher. But to others, this might be something completely new to you that you have never heard of. Now, there's something called the law of vibration, and you may have heard of it referred to as the law of attraction, right? There was a popular book and movie that came out several years ago called The Secret. Maybe you've heard of that, and it's all about the law of attraction. Really what that is the law of vibration. Now, what this law tells us is that everything moves, which gives off a vibrational frequency. So everything is moving, okay? Now that might sound silly if you're looking at a bush that's just sitting there and there's no breeze and the bush is just sitting there. How can that bush be moving, right? Or you're looking at a rock. How can that rock be moving? Well, everything is actually moving. Everything is moving, and we can get down to that on a deeper level, but for sake of time, we're not going to cover that in this workshop. But you can Google it. Google the law of vibration. Start educating yourself more on physics, and you'll understand how that is that everything has particles that are moving in it. So this gives off a vibrational frequency. And so there you have it. Nothing stands still. Everything is moving. Everything is giving off a vibration. Okay? I don't know if you've heard of Greg Braden, but he shares this awesome linking hands experiment. In fact, you can go onto YouTube and just type in Greg Braden and maybe type in linking hands experiment, and the video will come up where he shares it in more detail. But he did an experiment at a conference that he spoke at, and he had a huge audience, and he asked everybody in the audience, strangers or not, right? He asked everybody to hold hands for this experiment. Now, maybe people were a little bit hesitant at first because, you know, it's not always comfortable holding hands with somebody you don't know. But for the sake of the experiment, everybody was willing to do it. So he had everybody in the crowd hold hands, and it kind of made a chain, and it went all the way up onto the stage until the very last person in the chain held hands with him. And he was linked up to his machine, which was being presented on a large screen so everybody could see this graph and what was happening live on this graph. And it was showing the magnetic field. It was showing the magnetic field of the room and everybody in it. They were all connected. So you could see this graph and everything was just steady. Okay, he asked everybody to close their eyes and exert with all the energy in them to create the feeling of love, like unconditional love, and just to put all their energy and attention into focusing and feeling love and what that feels like in their heart. So everybody did this. They closed their eyes and the room got quiet, and everybody started to try to feel love and what that feels like. And all of a sudden you could just see it happening. The charts just started to spike. You could see that magnetic field spike, and it just went crazy off the charts. And everybody was able to open their eyes and witness that as everybody connected their magnetic fields together. And as everybody put forth that intention to feel love, that vibration was so powerful, it changed the magnetic field of the entire room. That was just an incredible, eye-opening experience to see. And I can't imagine what it must have been like to be there participating. But when I heard about it for the first time, I was in awe. Okay, so there's another experience that I'd like to share with you called the ball experiment. And this is just something that I do, and it's actually a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you all about that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about energy. Energy is the basis of everything we're going to be talking about in this workshop and in workshops to come. So to understand the basics of energy, it's really going to help you understand what it is we're going to be talking about. So first of all, I want to start by telling you about electrical fields. Now, to create an electrical field, all you need is a positive and a negative charge, right? Okay, now magnetic fields and electrical fields are two different things, but they're very much connected. Now, to create a magnetic field, all you need are two poles. So think about the Earth. You have the North Pole and the South Pole. So the Earth has that magnetic field. Now all of us have our own magnetic field, and we have an electrical field that runs through us. So to demonstrate this today, I've asked my girls to help me out. So come on over, girls. Okay, girls, let's all hold hands. Okay, you can see we've made a chain right here. We've got a human chain. However, Paisley and I are not connected. So I'm going to have Paisley go ahead and connect to the circuit. Can you see the ball, how it lit up? Okay, Paisley, go ahead and let go. Connect. Okay, you see that? Now keep holding that. Now watch what happens when Camry and I let go. Connect. Let go. Connect. Okay, hold your hand up. Hold your hand up. Should we do jingle bells? Okay, let's hold hands. Now watch, Paisley and Camry, hold your hands up so everyone can see. Hold your hands. Hold your hands together. Hold your hands. Hold your hands. Now disconnect. Now these are a lot of fun. You can get these on Amazon. They're pretty cheap, and they're fun to demonstrate to kids and friends of how electrical currents work and how energy and electricity flows through all of us. Okay, so I hope you liked learning about that ball experiment. And another visual, I think visuals are just amazing. And another visual that I have here to show you is something, I've got the YouTube address for it if you'd like to look it up and watch it again later. But this video is incredible because it shows in real time the visual, what it looks like to see these vibrations and how they change the particles around them. So this was an experiment that was conducted. Here's a quote by Nikola Tesla that I love. Okay, so as you can see, they've got everything set up and ready to go, and we're going to see what happens with vibrations and sound. Okay, everything's being measured in hertz. Here comes the sound. Okay, now as they change the pitch and the tone, watch what happens. So here's 345 hertz. Look at this beautiful shape. Amazing. Okay, they're putting more sound on. They put it up to 1033 hertz. Look at what happens. Now every time they go back to these same frequencies, you get the same geometric shapes. This is incredible. Here's 1820, 2041. Absolutely incredible. These are amazing geometrical patterns and shapes, and the symmetry is just incredible. For some of you right now, this is resonating with you. The light bulb's going on and you're starting to make sense of a lot of things. For others, you might think it's pretty cool to look at, but you don't understand the deeper meaning of this and why it's important. But don't worry, because we'll get to that later on. There is organization and chaos. I love it. I love it. You see all those sound crystals going into chaos, and you know, when they're dumped on, it's just a pile of chaos. There's nothing organized. And then that vibration goes forth, and everything is organized. Everything is organized through that frequency. I love it. Now, if you're a spiritual person, maybe some scriptures come to mind in Genesis. This is how I believe the universe was created. This is how it was created. The word went out, the frequencies went out, and matter responded to those frequencies. There's this organization for every frequency, for every vibration. If you understand the vibration of a tree, you can create a tree. If you understand the frequency and vibration of of minerals. You can create those minerals. It's just powerful. Okay, this video's just got a couple more minutes, but let's keep talking as we observe and watch this. Now again, I love that we can be right here at this design, 528.84, and then move on to the next, and then go back to the previous frequency, 528.84, and get that same design every time. Absolutely incredible. Hey. Alright, so I love that video. Sometimes, like I said, words only mean so much, but when you can see something in action, when you have a visual, then things start to click. The light bulb starts to go on. You start having those wonderful aha moments. And you know, that's what I love about giving this class in person, when I can be in a room full of people, and I love to see those light bulbs going on and those aha moments happening in real time, and I feed off of that energy, and it's exciting. So I can't see that right now. So if you're having these aha moments, I hope you have a notebook with you right now and you're writing down your thoughts and feelings, because you don't want to forget. And then when this workshop is over, you know, you can review the questions and the thoughts that you have and send them to me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to answer any questions that you have and help you have even more of those aha moments. Okay, so let's go on.